Hey, everybody. We are live with Stone Cold Eli Ellison, Director of Cyber and IT at SkillStorm. Thanks for joining us today, Eli.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the electric entrance. I really appreciate it.
So I love it. And for those that don't see, he's got the coolest shirt on. Can you show us the front and the back? There you go. Stone Cold Cyber.
Right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it. And Eli was going to put on a jacket for today's event. And I said, no, don't put on a jacket. Wear that shirt. I think for me, it kind of like it's cooler. It's edgier. You don't need to be an old guy like me in this stuff.
Not yet.
You're still young. So anyway, hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. I'm really excited to continue this series with SkillStorm to talk about how to find an incredible career in cyber, IT, cloud, basically in the whole tech arena. And why I'm so passionate about this is because I see so many transitioning military, so many military spouses, so many veterans go to just random boot camps or say that I'm going to IT or I'm going to go be an engineer or whatever. And I think they miss out on setting realistic goals. I think they miss out on choosing the right education. And I see a lot of schools or boot camps that are providers that just want money and aren't going to work hard to actually help you find employment afterwards. And so that's why I've been very passionate about the SkillStorm team. They've won me over with what they're doing. And here we are with Eli. So Director of Cyber and IT, Eli actually builds and trains programs for people to earn the skills and find these incredible jobs. Am I right on that?
Yeah. Yes. And I want to just caveat what you said earlier with people trying to just break in, right? A lot of people I talk to is they want to get into cybersecurity, but what is cybersecurity? What does that mean to you? I'll talk to some veterans that are transitioning, and they just equate cybersecurity to a six-figure job, right? But there's multiple disciplines within cybersecurity. So what is that? Identity and access management, working in a SOC, like blue team operations, information security auditing, right? There's a whole plethora of things that you can do, and it's really just trying to find out where that niche is, and that's how you can start studying and preparing for what job that you want within the cyber arena, as they would say.
Now, so then I'll just say I want to go into IT. That tells you something, right?
No. Like I could break that down as well. Like what do you want to do in IT, right? So, all right, you're just trying to go in and focus and just get some experience. So then maybe you just want to do the help desk, right? You're learning some troubleshooting tips and tricks along the way. You're learning identities because you're creating accounts, right? Learning hardware and software because you need to be able to help individuals at every level of the organization. Or maybe you want to do systems engineering. So you're working with the server, whether that's in the cloud or your old rack and stack within the organization as well. Or maybe you're a network engineer, right? So there's a lot of different disciplines that people just cover between cyber and IT.
I love it. Well, I got so excited this conversation. I forgot to say, hey, everybody, if you're joining us, drop in the comments where you're joining us from. And then if you're interested in either cyber or IT, drop that in the comments so we know, and maybe somebody can reach out and help you make that decision, because what you just said, Eli, is the crux of what I talk about in the transition. It's career exploration. It's not just saying you're a project manager in what industry?
Mm-hmm.
Not just saying you want to do cyber. Do you want to do cybersecurity? Do you want to do software engineering? Do you want to do, full stack? Do you want to do pen testing? IT, like, do you want to do tech sales? Do you want to do, like, there's a whole account management. There's just this huge, entire industry, basically. that people need to learn more about so they can make the right choices. So let's talk about your background, right? So Army veteran, you said you did about 7 years, right? Can you kind of walk me through what your career was like and what you did?
Yeah, so I was a 25 uniform in the United States Army. And for people who don't know, that's a signal support system specialist. Very long title, I know. So, I graduated high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I tried the whole you graduate high school and then you go into university, right? Well, I tried that for a year, but I think I did business administration for maybe a year. And I was like, well, I'm not equipped for this right now, and I don't have any money, and I don't want student debt. So I immediately left, went to the recruiting station, and was like, I want a job. And they were like, okay, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know, be something with helicopters. And I took the ASVAB, and they're like, maybe you should do something in tech. My recruiter was looking out for me. He was like, something that you can do on the outside. And I was like, sure, 25 uniform sounds cool. So then I did my little 9 weeks at Fort Jackson, and then was able to go to Fort Campbell. I was with the 2nd of 506. So I was able to go into ComSec. So then I started learning physical security aspects, auditing, and working radios, and just cryptography in general. And so while I was there, I deployed 2 times to Afghanistan. And then they had a program there that we could study for CompTIA certifications and take them for free. So I was able to get A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus.
Can I ask you a question? So everyone in your signal unit could take those certifications, right?
I guess there was only like 5 of us at that time. That I think there was only 2 of us who actually took it.
Yeah, I was going to say, usually, even though they're offered, not everyone takes advantage of this incredible free opportunity to earn certs.
Yeah, studied hard, fast, took the certifications, brain dumped it. To be honest, because I wasn't really using anything to reinforce that learning. But by the time I got out there, I was like, well, what am I going to do? Was starting to put a resume together through, TAPS, or the Transition Assistance Program. And I was like, man, I got this experience. Nobody wants to hire me. But luckily.
Can I say something? You've got generic experience.
Yes.
But a 25 uniform, even though you're in the Signal Corps, a 25 uniform is the guy doing ComSec, which really doesn't exist as much out here, or random radio stuff, right?
Correct. So that's what I had to try to lean on to, because I wasn't 25 Bravo, as they say, which is someone dealing strictly with computers, or someone just strictly dealing with satellites. You're just kind of the generic IT guy, which was didn't help. But I was trying to craft the bullets in a way, my resume bullets, that helped me out.
Yeah, and the generic IT guy with Sec Plus, A Plus, Net Plus, and a clearance
and
is
no
different
degree.
And what?
And no degree.
Well, I mean, still, it's somewhat okay, but with no degree. Oh, did the degree hold you back?
The degree held me back, and I didn't have a TS SEI.
Okay.
So a lot of people were looking. They're like, "Oh, you just have a secret clearance. You don't have a top secret clearance." Okay. But luckily, there was a program called the Microsoft Software and Systems Academy when I was going, and I was the 3rd cohort to go through, and I was like, okay. So I stepped into Embry-Riddle's office, and they talked to me about it, and I had to interview. I had to get accepted into university, which I was panicking about because I didn't have great grades at that moment in time, and then I had to take a networking certification with them to get into the program, and that was 18 weeks, and through that I was able to interview with Microsoft, and that gave me my first foray into Microsoft Azure, which helped me a lot later down the line. So I went to Redmond, Washington for the second interview. Didn't know I was interviewing for still. So luckily, I'll say that I didn't get accepted, or else my life would have been on a different trajectory from there, and I wouldn't be here speaking to you.
It didn't feel like it at the time, though. You were probably really bummed out that you weren't.
Super bummed.
Yeah.
But I completed that. Didn't get the certs for it, but you were allowed to take certifications. I didn't get it at the time, but I was accepted into university, and I had a degree program and a supportive team around me that helped me continue that education, because I was like, you had to use your GI Bill for that.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm already in a degree program. The first step has been made, so I'm going to follow this through. And so the first thing I did getting out is I moved closer to Nashville, because my wife was teaching at the time. So we moved to Nashville, and I got my first help desk gig. So
did you need a bachelor's degree to get that, or did you get it before you had your bachelor's degree?
Before. So I just started my degree while I was working the help desk. So I worked the help desk and do school. That was my whole life. But I was able to do that for 11 months per se. And then what I want everybody to know here is you always got to network, right? And never say no to an opportunity. So I was able to meet with some different recruiters, and they said, hey, we have this gig, because I really want to get into cybersecurity. I was like, this is what I want to do. And there's this incident response position open. And I was like, yeah, I'll try. I'm like, let me in. And that was a process. I had to do a recording of myself answering certain questions. And then when I was interviewing for the position, I would literally have the NIST frameworks and the incident response life cycle, and any questions I thought would come up, and I'd have facts about the company, and I taped it because I took this interview in my car, and I just taped it on my windshield. Everything.
Not a best practice, everybody. Hold on. I mean, if I'm interviewing and I see you think about it, and I see
only works for a phone. Only works for a phone call.
Okay.
Don't do it during a video interview. It's not going to work. People are trained, but I don't think webcam or video interviewing was that popular at the time. So, but I got in. That was my first foray into cybersecurity and incident response, and I got to be part of a global incident response team, which was really cool.
You started off at the bottom, like entry-level help desk. You did that for 11 months. And then with your experience plus the help desk, you were able to interview and get into a role in identity management. Did you have your bachelor's degree at that point?
No, I was in incident response.
Incident response, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And no, but it showed that when I was talking to the hiring manager that I was driven, because I was still pursuing something as well. And I had my certifications hasn't expired yet, so it's telling a story, right, as well as what I'm doing. I've got some certifications. I'm pursuing my bachelor's degree, and then I'm hungry and I want to learn.
Yeah.
So I got.
And you interviewed well. And you interviewed well.
And I interviewed well. Yes. Listen, I talk to myself in the mirror when I'm prepping for an interview. Yeah. I'm looking at people's LinkedIn's. I'm doing the research. And it's all about how you deliver and present yourself.
Yeah. You know, for the audience here, we prepped yesterday, and so I got Eli's whole story. And the one consistent that I took away from this is he is not afraid of hard work. and prepping. And so when it comes to his bachelor's degree, his eventual master's degree, which he claims he had to get because his wife has a PhD and he couldn't let her outstrip him that much. But the jobs that he took, the hard work that he put in, and that stands out for me for everything. When I see people that just give 100% and are always looking to grow, they're hungry to develop, it stands out. I'm sure it stands out for others. So we've got the help desk role for just under a year. Then you went into the incident response role. What was the next job?
Yes. So that contract ended. That was the first time I've done contract work. It's kind of scary. Hours work, hours paid, and then your contract could also be just canceled. So that didn't get renewed. So then I took a position at Community Health Systems. Just applying. Still working on my bachelor's degree, but I was like, I just need someone to talk to me. You get past machines. If you talk to me, you're gonna like me, right? And I'm gonna get hired. So I managed, because of the incident response experience that I had. The company was trying to build an incident response program. They didn't have one yet. They had a SOC, but then they wanted to do incident response as well. So I had that experience in my pocket. So when I interviewed, I was always highlighting the strengths of what I can do and how I conducted investigations and dealing with certain SLAs. Because it's important, if you're going into cybersecurity, know what legislation, different directives that are out there. So if you're working in healthcare, you're going to need to know HIPAA. If you're dealing with a global team, GDPR, Safe Harbor, like all those things, you need to know and be able to speak to them. And so I was able to talk about how I can develop policies, procedures. I've had experience within the financial vertical, but also dealing with HIPAA. That helped me out as well. And so I was there for 3 years, and that's when I got I finished my bachelor's then, and then you never want to stop the momentum. So I immediately applied for to get into FIU for their computer engineering program, and then I got accepted, and I was like, well, all right, let's go ahead and do that.
I'm just going to say I stopped the momentum on my end. I got that. I have a BS in liberal arts, and I'm like, yep, let's stop that momentum. I'm good.
But if you stop, something will always go in and fill the time.
Yeah.
Other things always fill time. And I finished my bachelor's in 3 years. So I had so much more GI Bill left.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to use it.
No, I love it. And would you be where you are today without that master's?
No, because it adds to the story.
Right.
So when I got this opportunity to apply and interview for SkillStorm, I had to interview with Joe Mitchell, the COO, Patrick Walsh, who's the EVP of training, and Alan Cohealy, and as you know, is the VP of recruiting. And one of the things that Joe said was that my resume told a story, and he could see the timelines of what I was doing. So I never stopped and just like rest on my laurels and try to ride it out then. So.
No, I love it. I mean, so basically 7 years from getting out of the military with no real IT experience other than the certs and the 25 uniform experience. And 7 years later, you're a director building programs and training people for cyber and IT. It's a fantastic success story. So let's get into SkillStorm. So what when you talk about cyber and IT, can you give us an example of some of the classes or cohorts you've taught? Like what's involved in them?
Yeah. So like I told you before, that Azure experience that I had just within that program helped me a lot, because my first batch that I had to teach was Azure and identity access management. So that help desk understanding roles and permissions in Azure, right? So those two came together for me. So I had to go ahead and teach everything about Azure identity and access management, like with a certification called the MS 500. Don't put me on the hold. I can't remember the whole name of it. It's a long name for the certification, but so that was my first one, and I think I had like a couple weeks of gear up time to teach that. I haven't had too much experience with actually building it out within Azure itself. So that's where the preparation's key. Reading documentation. Everyone read documentation. Especially Microsoft, they have pretty good documentation and examples and tutorials, so you can piece together certain things. So I did that one, and then I had to teach a traditional SOC analyst batch.
Yep. So let me ask you a question. Hold on. So you said Azure and Identity Management.
Mm-hmm.
How long was that course?
That one was about 10 weeks.
So a 10-week class. People came in with just technical aptitude, maybe a little bit of experience, and they came out able to do Azure and Identity Management. Right?
Yes. So everyone has to come in to SkillStorm, right? Apply and interview, and they have to go through a technical interview with one of the trainers, right? So we are always there interviewing every individual who comes into SkillStorm. So like this was a Tech Force by Design batch, and you had to, one of the prerequisites for that is you have to have a degree.
Right.
Kind of like in the military, right? A degree is a degree. But it's a very intensive program that you have to go through, because you're getting a lot of information in a short amount of time, and then you have to be ready day one when you go to a client.
So I love it. So they went for 10 weeks, Azure Identity Management. They got paid while they're in the course. And when they graduated, they went right into a job.
Correct. So with Tech Force by Design, it kind of like with my story, right? You kind of get a more streamlined approach, right? So it's like if you want to do cyber, and that's what you want to do, like great thing about SkillStorm is, and we live up to it, is accelerate opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? So we can get you where you need to go, and those aren't just promises; those are facts.
Right.
And but you have to be willing to put in the work to do it. And so when you come into especially a Tech Force by Design, you're a stormer. You're paid to train, to learn, to gear up, and go to the client.
Yeah, I love it. And I think, if I recall correctly, when people are interviewing prior to these tech aptitude interviews, they get sent the material.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
So if you really want it, you can pull an Eli and just read the whole thing, prepare, and come in showing you're hungry, and you'll be fine.
Yes. Right. Soft skills, very, very important. How you deliver yourself. Right. But we do give coaching after that. But we give the information about what we're probably going to ask you about, and some of the different disciplines. And if you study up, then you'll be able to pass no problem.
So when you run these 10, 12-week courses, these classes, what is the general breakdown of the course? Like hours a day, type of engagement, stuff like that.
Right. So like I said, this is a career. So when you're starting with SkillStorm, right, this is 8 hours, 40 hours a week position that you're stepping into. So first thing in the morning, we work on Eastern time. So we're training. We're getting into the tech, doing demos, having people present as well on different facets of what we went over to get comfortable with public speaking and conducting projects to work together in order to build these cohesive teams. And by the end of it, everyone understands the mission. They understand the tech. They're very confident when they go in, and then they go ahead and produce results.
I love it. And I love that they're consultants. Like when you come out, you're a consultant in that field. So I love that you're developing the soft skills along with the hard skills of this.
Well, so it's not like back in the day, Mike, where everyone thinks of the IT guy in the corner, like in the basement, just typing away. You have to be out there and engaged and be able to talk technical to non-technical people. Like, I
love it. So and we got Deion Myers here and how amazing SkillStorm was. So it looks like he did his internship with them, the Career Skills Program or SkillBridge internship. So I love it. So types of, so you said Azure Identity Management. What was the next one you taught?
I taught a SOC analyst batch.
Yep. So what's a SOC analyst?
Yeah, so SOC, right, short for Security Operations Center Analyst. So these are the individuals that are combing through different data streams or logs to understand if there's any anomalous activity that could be happening within a network, and then be able to triage any events that may turn into incidents.
All right, I like that. And then what are the other cohorts?
I taught a Palo Alto firewall engineering batch. So, so that one was pretty difficult because networking is hard. That's a completely different discipline in itself. But
all right, hold on. You lost me. Networking is hard. I network every day.
Oh, okay. Yes.
No. What do you mean by networking is hard and it being different? Because I don't know. You're talking about SOC analysts. I've heard cloud, but now you just said networking is hard. I guess it's the firewall and how things are kind of communicating.
Yeah, network engineering is hard. Well, okay. I would say networking in your space is also hard as well. But in this one, you're having to have different networks be able to communicate with each other effectively, and you have to establish rules and how different devices are able to interact, or who's able to interact with you. And then
that's like the zero trust thing I keep hearing people talk about.
Yeah, that is very popular, zero trust. So never trust, always verify, and that's the next step that people are going, because most of it is going towards identity as well.
Interesting.
Within the cybersecurity space. But
so I know we're running up close to the 30-minute mark. So what percentage of your participants would you say graduate your courses? Ballpark.
That graduate?
Yeah, like you have a batch. You're teaching a 10-week cohort. What percentage finish?
80%.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the reasons that you would say the 20% maybe don't?
Well, the course is maybe too difficult, or they didn't know they were signing up for, or they can't grasp the information in a timely manner, right? Or meet certain metrics. So then they have to be released from the program as well. Yeah. And then sometimes just personal issues.
Yeah, they just don't want to do it sometimes, right? Or they don't want to put in the work.
Yep. Or
it is 40 hours a week, right?
Yep. And sometimes I've seen extraneous factors come into play that you're like, well, yeah, no one could have seen that coming.
Okay. Yeah. 80% is huge. I mean, you're taking someone in 10, 12 weeks and turning them into a consultant to go in there and do this specific tech package with a client. I don't know where that's being done elsewhere. So it's really exciting to me. So so we've had a bunch of people comment and say that they're interested in cyber, they're interested in IT. Some said they're interested in analytics, for whatever it is. If they're just interested in the field, they don't know what's out there. Can they reach out to SkillStorm and say, hey, I'm interested, what do you have available, or what would I be a good fit for? And you have people that'll work with them?
Always. Yes. our recruiters are always actively looking. We have a multitude of different tech stacks that we look out for. So please reach out to the recruiters, tell them what you're interested in, and then there's probably a program that's going to be, if not now, soon, that would probably build into that type of discipline that you're looking for.
And then if they have a top secret clearance, they're of extra interest, right?
Yeah, depending on the program. So so everyone, one and all, come apply.
I love it. I still wish you guys were allowed to call them stormtroopers instead of stormers. I feel like
I feel like there's a copyright infringement.
That's the problem, right? For me, that's what I think of. But I guess stormers really works as well. I guess last two couple pro questions. I noticed you're in a gamer chair. What games do you play?
Right now, I'll play Crusader Kings 3. So I like to build my kingdoms up and invade other kingdoms. So I like to build up my forces. So I'll play CK3. But that's if I have time for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where do you find the time? Yeah. And then, what are your favorite sports teams? Do you have favorite sports teams?
My favorite sports teams. So I'm a college football fan.
Okay.
So, the Florida State Seminoles. That's my team.
Okay.
It was a sore season, a sore incident of a beautiful season. And I like Liverpool for English football,
soccer or football, right?
Yeah. Yep. So
wow.
I don't have much of an NFL team, which is probably a good thing, so that I can actually just like watch and just go, oh, okay, and I'm not like too invested.
You should just go ahead and come over to the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles.
My dad's a Giants fan, so I have to like root for them.
No, it's sometimes better if you root against your family. So, no, awesome. So, Eli, thank you so much. It's been great talking to you. I've learned a lot already. Any final things you want to share?
Yeah. So whether you're getting out of the military, planning on getting out of the military, right? The internet's vast, so you can always start doing your research on what you want to do and start making proactive steps towards that. So then you try to map out your life plan a little bit, or not life plan, but your career plan. And then you can be able to make a checklist and be like, okay, I've accomplished these certain tasks that I wanted to, because as soon as you reach one accomplishment, you could say that's like your mini mountaintop. And then you're looking like, well, now I want to go here. And don't look at it from, I'm getting out of the military to I'm a cybersecurity expert, right? Because that's where it just kind of stops, because you don't see the progress that you're making. Right. So always just break it up into certain objectives that you want to accomplish, and then it'll keep the steam going.
I love it. When I talk to people like you that have found their success, and we talk about career trajectory, it's never this.
Right.
Like, it's never a straight line. There's always like this. And when you look back, it all makes sense. It's like all the individual experience, some of the failures, everything else was preparing you for where you are today.
Right.
And I definitely see that in your background. And I'm excited for a lot of service members, veterans, military spouses, non-veterans. For me, if you want to get a career, to launch a career into tech, I'm just going to say tech, then SkillStorm is a great place to start, because not only are they going to give you the training, they're going to help place you. A lot of times they have jobs at the end, and they pay you while you're doing it. So even better. So thank you, Eli. It was a pleasure, especially since you're a fellow Army veteran. And hey, everybody, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you for your time, everyone.